What's up, everyone? This is Screen Smash, CouchSoup's video game podcast where we talk about all things in and around the world of video games. You can catch us every Friday at noon PST over on YouTube /at CouchSoup, or you can catch us a day earlier as a Soup Spud member over at CouchSoup.com. And you can, of course, listen to us wherever podcasts are available. I'm your host, Dan Morris. Joining me tonight, I have Jake Brown.
Hey, it's your boy.
My boy. Spoons.
Boy.
My boy, Spoons. What's up, Spoons? Nick McKay.
Hello, that's me. Hi.
I don't have a fun nickname for you yet, Nick.
Nah, we'll get there.
Nick. That is Nick McKay.
Never heard that one before.
Really?
I'm sorry, I'll stop. I'll see myself out.
I'm kind of short, so I've heard Nick Jr. a lot. That's,
what?
Yes, that one's fun.
Also joining us, we have a friend of the show. Joining us again, Baron from Level 1 is here. What's up, Baron?
Hey, guys. Hello. I'm back. I don't know where that came from, but that happened.
He's still rolling from that Nick Jr. comment.
Yeah, it's like, hold on.
I'm trying to be normal. It's not working.
That was good.
That was a good one.
Tonight on Screen Smash, we are going to talk about the newly released, I can say the words, Immortals of Aveum, which is a interesting little spin on the shooter genre. Myself and Baron have both been playing it. And then, are you ready, ladies and gentlemen? We are going to get deep into Starfield, which will be hitting digital storefronts in a few short days. Are we ready to give up our lives, our houses, our children, our families, and everything they're in to live in a virtual world?
I'm taking PTO. I'm taking PTO next week. I'm taking PTO. PTO.
Woo!
Playtime online.
I need that form from Bethesda to let my company know why I'm gonna not be available.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's pretty great. That they had printed out or like made something for you to use, like almost like a doctor's note.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Here's an interesting question: have you guys ever taken like a day off work, like a leave day, just for the release of a game?
Dude,
I took a week off for Remnant.
I feel called out.
I legit took because we ended up getting a review copy. I took a whole week for Remnant 2. Yeah.
Dang, man.
I remember being at a job that actually called out the employees saying that people weren't allowed to take time off during the release of a big game at the time because they knew that's what people were going to do.
This was a few years back when Gears of War 4 came out. I took the entire week off of work for it. And so the cool thing about it was, I mean, I guess it wasn't cool for some people. It was one of the hurricanes. I can't remember, but it was in our area. So I went on my vacation. And then the week after the hurricane hit, so they closed down stores everywhere. So they're like, all right, you don't have to work for a week. I was like, I got 2 weeks off. Oh, dude, it was the greatest thing ever.
Oh, that sounds great.
That's most likely going to happen. But then again, some of us are playing games for work and stuff, which is always fun. To get us started with that, we're going to talk about Immortals of Aveum. Which, of course, Baron's been playing. I've been playing too. This game has caught my attention big time, and I wanted to talk about it. And as soon as I saw Baron was playing it too, I'm like, Baron, you got to come talk to me about Immortals. Especially in the wake of Starfield.
I like
hence the name. Hence the name of this episode. Because literally, like, how do we manage anything that's in the wake of Starfield? Because that's, man, you cannot deny that Starfield is the biggest thing right now. And the hype is just getting out of control. It's out in this outer space. But we still have so many good games to play. And I think Immortals is worth talking about. So, Baron, let me jump right in there and let's talk about Immortals. Like, what do you think of this game so far?
I believe I am, at least story beat wise and the amount of hours I put in. I believe I'm towards the end. And I'll try to be as not spoiler as possible. I'll say this. It is a game that it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of different abilities. You get to build up your, you get to boost the abilities you want to boost. Your spell casting is a gun. So you have shotgun style spells. You have automatic rifle style spells. You have sniper rifle style spells or semi-automatic style spells. And then I thought it was going to be locked to each spell type, but the further you get in the game, there's more gear that, like, there's even a shotgun style spell for your automatic spells. And like then there's different abilities. But the thing, okay, this is one of my gripes. I'll do the whole crap sandwich thing. They don't tell you that things you're gonna unlock in the future are gonna benefit you for things that you're looking at like currently. And it doesn't say, like, it doesn't notify you in any way, shape, or form. Like, outside of you just can't do anything with it. Like, hey, you don't have it yet. Or the spell you need to get into this area you don't have yet. And I guess I'm glad it doesn't handhold that much.
I mean, it's kind of Metroidvania-esque in that sense.
Yes, there you go. But it's weird because when you play the style of game, you don't expect that. And then, like, you randomly find out that you can go back to other areas at any point in time. And they don't make you, it doesn't have the feel of an open world-ish game at all, but you can go back to anywhere you want in the game. And it's it's a lot of very random things put together in a fun game. Like, it's not as linear as it's portrayed. Even though if you just played the story, you would have no reason to go back to other areas unless you want to go grind or you want to go open up chests and unlock. Big positive. It respects the adventure and exploration. The game constantly rewards you for looking around. And do you know how mad I get when I go to a waterfall and there's no chest back there? That is the worst.
Like, how dare you?
No, serious. Like, when there's nothing, not a piece of lore. Like, okay, fine. Don't give me a secret item behind every waterfall, but put a note or something, or make a.
I don't know, tell dummy.
Yeah, or like an environmental story. Like, put like two skeletons holding hands or something. Like, reward me for taking that chance and looking behind a waterfall,
or even just a sign that says there is nothing here.
That would be cool too. Acknowledge me. Witness me.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
No, but seriously, like, but that's where this game shines like freaking sun. It rewards you for exploring. So if you guys plan on picking it up, or anybody listening plans on picking it up, please go, just walk around. You will be rewarded. I think I walked out of the tutorial with like 20-something thousand gold. Like, it was silly. And it wasn't like, of course there was a couple of obscure things, but it wasn't ridiculous. Like, you had to solve 1.5 million puzzles to get some gold. Like, it was just look around. And yeah. Whew. So what'd you think, man?
I'm probably not as far in the game as you are, but I also feel like I've made pretty good progress. I've been kind of like trying to stay focused on getting through the story, because I know me, if I get too caught up in looking in every little nook and cranny and trying to solve every puzzle I come across, I'll never finish the game. So it's like, I'll come back to that stuff later, but I picked up a lot of what you're saying. I want to also do a quick little summary. So anyone who doesn't know about Immortals here, it's a first-person magic shooter adventure game.
Yes.
It's hard to explain, but like the guy who created this game was actually working at Call of Duty. Like, he's making Call of Duty games at Sledgehammer Games. When he started thinking about what if Call of Duty had dragons and magic and sorcery And that's how he came up with the pitch for this game, essentially. So the game has these big, bombastic set pieces of just pure fantasy awesomeness with like over the top visuals and magic and dragons and soldiers, and everyone's blasting magic spells everywhere. And this whole world is just oozing with magic. And it's all done with some incredible writing and extremely well timed like comedy. I was talking about this a little earlier with Nick, that I feel like the writing in this game is on par with some of the best Marvel writing, where it's very serious, but they do a really good job of mixing in some comedic relief into the back and forth, and it's really snappy, it's really witty. It's actually made me laugh out loud a couple of times, which is hard to do for Mr. Deadpan Dan here. But I've been thoroughly enjoying my time with the game. It has some issues. It's not perfect, but it's a damn good time. And like, I think one of the best feelings I've had playing this game so far is it feels like one of the most fresh new IPs I've played in a long time.
Yeah.
And that's saying something. Just think about how most studios are terrified of doing new IPs because they're afraid of them flopping. They're afraid of them failing. So they don't put money into new IPs.
And they put a lot of money into this one. Marketing, design, actors. They put a lot into this.
And this is Ascendant Studios, which is essentially an independent AAA studio, which, yes, they are partnered with EA, but they're not EA. It's an EA Originals.
And real quick, thank you, EA. I'm part of the EA Creator Network, and they're the ones who provided me the code. And that's how I've been playing it. So I got to get that out there. Just, got to clear that up real quick.
Gotta put it out there.
Shout out EA. We'll take some more if you have them.
I want to shout out Ascendant Studio with what they've done with this game, because
seriously,
if you look into the
game.
lore, like I know Nick was getting into a little bit too. Like the background of the studio is, it was funded by Brett Robbins, who was ex EA Red Shores, which made Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. Jake. They also made
the PS2 one.
Yeah. Dude, that
was
one rocks.
Ooh, wee.
Oh, man.
Couch co-op with the counter of how many orcs you get.
That's it.
Yes, I had to get that out there. That's the studio, and this gentleman was part of that game, as well as Lord of the Rings: The Third Age, and then what would eventually become Visceral Games, making Dead Space. So this is the same studio that brought us some of those greats. Not the same studio, but the people. I'm sorry, the people from those studios that moved on. And so he started this new studio. And another really cool thing that he did is when they were forming the studio, it was right around the time that the old original Telltale Studios closed its doors. And the guy basically swooped in there and hired like most of the people who got let go from Telltale. And that's freaking awesome.
Dang.
That's awesome to me, because I know. Go ahead, Barry.
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say, now that you said that, I could see where the pacing and the way they communicate fits along with Telltale Games, because I didn't know that. But now hearing that and
you're like
thinking about, you could feel it. You could definitely feel it. Yeah.
It feels like from what I've seen of gameplay, I mean, it does feel like Sledgehammer's influence of making like a decent shooter, like an FPS shooter, and Telltale's kind of imagination have sort of, collaborated to make something like this. I think it's a really, really impressive game for a bunch of people just coming together.
Yeah, for a debut game. A debut game. It's very impressive. I'm playing the game on the PS5, and I have had a little bit of performance issues. Nothing terrible. It's mostly like the frame rate gets a bit rough sometimes, which for the most part isn't bad. But sometimes when there's a lot happening on screen and stuff starts to get really blurry, and I start to get like, whoa, it's that doesn't normally happen for me, to get like kind of thrown off by some motion blur. And there's no graphical settings or changes, which
none.
That's a bummer. Like if I have the choice in a game, I always set it to prioritize frame rate over resolution, which I wish I could in this game, especially because it's a shooter. To its heart and core, it is a shooter game. The powers are really cool. They're really fun. Watching gameplay of this game doesn't really do it justice because it just looks like there's a lot happening, and you're like, what is this? What am I looking at? There's a lot of colors. But when you get into it, and like you said, Baron, like you basically have a magic spell that is equivalent to like your automatic rifle or your shotgun or your rifle, assault rifle or sniper rifle. And then you've got the really cool, like a shield spell, and you've got these magic abilities to like slow enemies down or to like grab them.
Yeah.
And here's a comparison. I don't know if you're going to get this, Baron, but I know somebody will. The lash, specifically amongst everything else, reminds me of, I don't know if Jake knows where I'm going with this.
I think I do.
Bullet Storm.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the Bullet Storm boot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Man.
Yes.
I'll say this. When in terms of performance, because I've been playing a lot of it on my Logitech G Cloud through the remote play. I struggled a bit because, of course, it's that when you're playing any type of shooter, there's on remote play, there's that slight enough lag to where you feel it. But outside of that, I haven't experienced anything where it was like, okay, I don't know what's going on. And I wonder if they didn't offer those settings because of the particles of the magic, like how it would look if it was like, we need to set this and leave it because we got it working. I wonder if it was something as simple as that. But then again, when it comes to the technical end, I have no idea what I'm talking about. But I will say, in terms of visuals, I haven't seen anything to make me think, oh, this is bad. I did see some moments where it got fuzzy, and it was during those weird transitions in the beginning of the game where it went from like cinematic or hardcore gameplay to jump to cinematic, like that blend. I've seen a couple of moments like that, but not enough, nothing to make me want to go into the menu and like turn off motion blur or anything like that.
Yeah. The only other issue I've had, this might be a personal issue as far as like with PlayStation, the aiming feels a bit twitchy, but like that's always been a thing for me when it comes to shooters on PlayStation. The aiming's always felt a bit off, and I don't know if it's the sticks or what. I don't know. I'm actually curious to try and play the game on Xbox to see if I have the same issue, because it feels like I have a hard time doing precision aiming with the blue spell.
Okay. It's weird to have PC style shooting on a controller, because that's the best way I could describe it, because there is no lock on, there is no auto aim. And it's weird because usually that's the rule of thumb when you're playing a console shooter, is you have some type of auto aim or tracking,
like the aim snap or something along those
aim
lines.
assist, anything. No, you're not getting that at all. Like, you are free aiming the whole game, and it's you don't realize how much of it how much assist you usually get until you play something like this. And I'm not a Doom guy. I'm not because that's what I would tell people. I was like, this reminds me of like Doom in terms of movement and everything going on, or like a killing a killing floor. Like, you're kind of just Serious Sam running around, things are happening, and like that's a rough, cheap comparison, right? Even though it's not cheap to compare something to Doom, but still. I'll say I wish there was some form of auto aim, just a little bit, especially with the shotgun spells, because there's a lot of particles that happen, but it doesn't necessarily mean it hit. And the proof in the pudding for that is when you're like doing the puzzles. Like, the shotgun spell, you would think would be like, oh, let me just get in that general area of the puzzle. No, you need to be right on it. The most you got to get close enough.
The most I've ever noticed that was trying to blast chest with it. If you are not looking at that chest dead on, you are not hitting it.
You're not hitting it. And I've noticed it with the chest puzzles. And then it makes the melee a little weird, but that's why I lean so heavy on the lash. The lash was like the first ability I maxed out, because there is a skill tree, and each color spell you have has its own tree and has its own ability. and you need them for puzzles. You need them to get through the world, and you need to use them in order to defeat enemies. Like you can't. They kind of sell it like, oh, just pick whatever spells you like. It's like, no, you need every spell to get through this game, even when it comes to fighting. And they don't really don't really tell you. They kind of just infer it with the color schemes.
I mean, I feel like there was some initial tutorials too, where it does say like, you know, you will face enemies that have like blue shields, and you need to use the blue weapon to break the shield.
Yes.
Or you have enemies that have armor, and you need to use the red shotgun spell to break the armor. And
oh my god,
you know, there's some like that, and then there's the green health buff.
Yeah.
You know, there's a little bit there. It's a little bit like, I feel like they're like, we think our player base is going to be intelligent enough.
Yes. Yeah. I just, I don't know, man. There's a couple of.
I think most of the time it gets a little overwhelming sometimes, and you kind of like start scrambling, like, well, what do I do? I forget, you know, like, because it's a lot is happening at once.
Do you wish there was a hotkey for our wheel for your colors?
I wish you could switch between the 3 spells directly, because you have to cycle through them.
Yes. Oh, there's so many moments. And okay, do you know who Sandrak is?
Yeah.
Have you interacted with Sandrak?
Not like in a fight, no. Okay. I've had cutscenes and I've talked to him, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Be on the lookout for that now.
There was the fight. There was the fight with the golem that had the 3 colored rocks on him, and you had to blow them out. Yeah.
Okay, so I got knocked into an area of the map where I thought I was gonna have to redo that fight. He did something, and somehow I ended up near the ceiling, and there was a little crevice that for some reason the devs put there, and I got stuck. And it took me like 5 minutes during the boss fight to have. It was funny because I don't think it was a glitch, but it felt like a glitch. But it wasn't like I was stuck in the wall. I was just in a crevice that existed within the game, and I had to like maneuver my way, Skyrim jump my way out of it, and then I jumped back into the fight after I cheesed them because I was like, oh, I'm on a perch, so I might as well take advantage, and then I knocked all the nodes, and yeah. Light spoiler, I apologize.
It sounds like a pretty fun game.
It
is. And it's like I was kind of thinking the same thing. So that's kind of cool, Dan, that you said like the people behind it was like from Call of Duty, because I immediately thought when I saw it, because I haven't played it yet, I immediately thought like Call of Duty and like Monster Hunter kind of vibes together in a weird way. So like that's kind of cool knowing somebody behind Call of Duty made it. I think my only kind of like issue with it, like something just hasn't kind of clicked right for me when I saw it. Like it looks very beautiful. Like I feel like to me it might be a little bit more fun if you played it in third person. But then I was sitting there thinking, I was like, this would also, from the looks of it, be a pretty cool VR game, I feel like.
Yes. Yes. Ooh. They need to be working on a
really
VR
good
version. They need to.
I'll say this much. It's actually the gameplay, the gunplay, the running around and blasting enemies. It's way more fun than I actually expected it to be. And I'm always obsessively watching the dude's hand, because he makes different gestures with his hands for the different spells. Like this is the blue spell, and like the way he moves his hand, and like the animations are really specific and really elaborate. And he's got like the mage tattoos all over his fingers and his face.
You can see rings, like when you change
the rings, you'll see him on his hands.
Your bracelet, your weapons, or your sigils, like all of that. You see it. It's a lot of detail.
The game definitely wears its Call of Duty inspiration on its sleeve, but like just completely rewrites the formula with it, with this very strong narrative adventure that is in an open world that says you can explore if you want, but you don't need to. And the world is quite dense too. There's a lot to do. Like Baron said, there's a lot of rewards for exploration. One of my favorite things, and this is like probably an OCD thing, there's these little collectible items called Wisp that you find flying around, and they're different colors, and you have to shoot them with the according color. And I'm like, as soon as I see one of those, I'm like, I gotta get it. It's kind of like collecting the Odin's ravens in God of War.
Yes.
I'm like, I have to get these things.
And it rewards you a lot too. You get 100 to 200 points to your level up bar. And that's a lot in the grand scheme of things. Like I've definitely leveled up a few times just off of collecting the wisp.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting the game to have experience points and leveling up, but it does, and it's actually quite clever. I like how it's like you ascend when you level up.
Yeah.
Like, everything's got to be unique, and the characters are really good. I love the way the characters are written. Every time I meet a new character, I'm always kind of like, oh, I like her or I like him. They're really well written and really well done, and I'm really impressed with what the studio was able to do.
And everybody has a development arc. Like, and it feels good. And it's not cheap, even though they could have easily went campy. They did not. There are campy moments because it is what it is, but it's very well paced.
I also, before we move on, need to shout out Gina Torres.
Oh yeah,
she is phenomenal in this game. If you don't know Gina Torres, if you've ever played Destiny, she plays Ikora in Destiny, and she's also in Firefly. She's a primary character in the main storyline. She does an amazing job, and like her acting is so good. And Jack too. Jack, I don't know exactly who the voice actor is that plays him, but his dialogue is so good. The acting is really good. I love those exchanges. There was a point in the beginning of the game where I thought the facial animations looked a little dull.
Yeah.
But not as bad as like Horizon Zero Dawn dull. Like that was like a tipping point in my mind. I'm like, all these animations look kind of weird, but then I'm like, but they're not Horizon Zero Dawn. So they get better too. Like, I don't think the intro was bad.
I don't think the animations in Horizon were bad. I think it was just animation. The base models.
That's what it was.
Like
facial,
the first time you see Aloy as a little girl, it's like sort of creepy looking. She's got a massive head. Her head is like the size of the rest of her whole body.
Well, I'm mostly referring specifically to like the NPC interactions when you're talking to people, and they're just like animatronic,
look like Sims characters.
Yeah, they all have the same animations when they're talking as well. So it's like.
Yeah, it's the same
every time.
My final thoughts on the game is I think Marvel needs to take some notes from it and make a freaking VR Doctor Strange game based off of that gameplay. Because like that's kind of what I thought too. I was like, oh snap! Like,
yeah, quite literally, like you do the shield,
like and shields and like different little
you shoot through the shield. You're like, you
could totally reskin this as a Doctor Strange. Like take all the video game mechanics and it'd be a great Doctor Strange game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow,
for sure.
Low hanging fruit. They got a layup if they want it.
Yeah, like Marvel should already be knocking on Ascended Studios' door. Like, hey,
you want to make a licensing deal,
right? We own you now. Just saying.
But to close it out, I want to reiterate that I've been truly enjoying this game. And I think if anyone has any interest whatsoever in a slightly different style of shooter with some really good storytelling and a really cool world that has a lot of lore. Oh my God, there's so much lore and like so much life in this universe. I'd be happy to see them continue. I hope they get to continue making this series or make it into a series. If you're on the fence, if you can rent it or try to grab the game on sale, definitely give it a shot. It's pretty cool.
I second that 100%. It's even though as somebody who received a copy, I will say that I would. If you catch it on sale, 1,000% get it. Like it's on a sale, without a doubt, grab it, enjoy it. It's actually longer than you would think, not in a bad way. It doesn't overstay its welcome so far, but it's got some. It's not a 6-hour game. Like they put some time behind it.
All right, are we ready?
Ready.
Because Immortals is really good, and I hope I can beat this game soon, because very soon, very, very soon, the biggest game of the year is dropping. The biggest, most hyped game for a long time is coming very soon. Because Starfield is here. It's happening. It's soon. People are already playing it. People are already working on their reviews and their articles and getting stuff out there. I am doing my damnedest to avoid everything because that's just how I roll. I don't like knowing anything about a game before I get my hands on it, especially a game that I'm interested in. So literally, as we were getting prepared for this discussion tonight, that's when I started really diving into everything there is to know about Starfield. And there is a lot. There is, like, even Pete Hines was saying at Gamescom, like, there's just so much in the game, it's impossible to even explain to people what Starfield is because there's so much. So recently, my hype level for Starfield has really gone up there. I wanted to go around and get each of your takes on where you land with Starfield at this time. And I'll start with you, Baron, being our guest tonight.
Okay, so it's been extremely hard to act normal. I've been doing my best to not go full hype train like I did with Fallout 4. And they actually made it kind of easier because they didn't do the same level of marketing they did with Fallout 4. Like, there wasn't the weekly video segment about each perk and ability, and they've toned it down a bit in that department, so it's made it a little easier. But once I seen that people within, like, adjacent in our space and what we do started getting, like, codes to review and, like, oh, I'm reviewing I couldn't manage. My sleep got messed up. I'm refreshing my emails every 5 minutes. And, like, for those who are in the space or in the know, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time is when all the press releases and stuff start going out. So every morning at 6, do I need an alarm? No, because I have my emails and I hear my bing, ding, ding, ding. And I go and I look and I'm skipping everything, looking for something that says Starfield or Bethesda. And I'm not okay. I've been playing No Man's Sky, or as we call it, Field of Stars. And then I've been playing Starbound, which has been, what did we call that one? Starnaut. And it just, I'm not okay.
You guys are at level 1 with your makeup names for, like, Red Fail and
yeah, bro. Like, I'm really trying. I'm trying my best to be normal, and it's not working. I want this game bad, and then to add, like, salt on the wound, I'll be at PAX. Like, here I am complaining about going to PAX, right? Like, oh man, I'm gonna get media credentials and do all the but I already have people messaging me talking about, oh, I can't wait to spoil this game for you, bro. And I'm like, you're a bad person, and I'm telling, and I don't know who I'm gonna tell, but I'm gonna tell, and I'm
police.
I'm gonna tell your mom.
I'm telling. I'm calling somebody's parents. They are being rude.
Don't make me call my mom. I'll have my mom call your mom.
Yeah, I'm telling. But no, guys, I'm not okay. I hope I look normal. I need this game bad, and it sucks. Like, I feel like I haven't been this excited for something in a very long time.
See, I'm kind of a little bit lower than, well, I think a lot lower. See, I don't want to get hurt. I think that's my issue.
Don't hurt me.
I've got feelings.
I don't want to get hurt by the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, cause it's weird. It's like my interest in it, I have a little bit of interest, but it hasn't reached that point to where you're at. But I think when a game gets this big, like this hyped up, like all I can think of is Cyberpunk. And like that game was probably like just as hyped as this one is.
Yeah.
And the way that launched, it's like, I'm afraid to get hurt. Luckily, I didn't care for Cyberpunk. Like I was never interested in it. But like that's what I think of. I was like, I don't want to get hyped up for this game because it's like, dude, it is so hyped right now. I feel like if you come into it expecting so much, you're gonna be disappointed. So like kind of like Dan, like I've kind of not really looked at a whole lot up until like the past few days.
There's a reason I've been that way for the past 10 years.
Is that really how long it's been since
Aliens, Colonial Marine?
Oh, no, I was gonna say, when was Starfield announced? I thought it was like 2018, wasn't it?
It's been a while. We haven't brought it up, but Aliens, Colonial Marines was the game that made me stop getting hyped for new games before they came out.
That game damaged a lot of people.
I'm gonna tell you
Be
this.
included.
I haven't been burned by a game since I think it was like PlayStation 2. And I just had extra money and I just threw it at a game that kind of had a cool cover. I've always been the guy that, as best I could, did research, and I kind of knew what I was purchasing. With this, if it's bare minimum, I'm talking like at its worst. If it's just a reskin of Fallout 4 or just Skyrim with guns in space, I'm fine. Like,
Haarmsa with guns in space.
Yeah.
threaten me with a good time. Like I'm okay with that. And for me, we're dealing with a company who, when it comes to their single player games, has not truly failed us. So I'm going into this thinking of their worst and excited.
Yeah.
Like that's how it is for me. And that's the only reason I'm letting myself get this hype. Because at its worst, single player Bethesda game studio game, I'm gonna have a good time.
You had more on that, Jake?
Yeah, no. So I was gonna say the counterpoint to that is there's a safety net, and that is Xbox Game Pass. So I'm not dropping $70 to get hurt by a game and go, man, I just dropped $70. Oh my god. I mean, I have Xbox Game Pass. I get a day one. The most amount of work I'm going to be putting into it is just installing it, which, I mean, that is a lot of work. I mean, hard drives, come on. Like, so
What's it going to be, like 250 gigs?
It's 100.
I don't know how much is it.
I was gonna say
It was
it's
100
close to
gigabyte install
Yeah.
So
And I think there's a
Only
big
100?
update.
for now.
starting. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the entry download.
So from like a lot of the
That's
stuff I've been
tutorial.
looking at, so like the game does look interesting, but there's kind of like one thing I really haven't seen, which I want to see. Like, yes, like, oh, you can explore, you can do this, you can customize like everything. You can customize your ship, your crew members, like all this stuff. It's like, but the thing I kind of want to know is like, what's the story? Like, what gets you started and set off on this journey? Like, I know there's a lot of, you can get lost in side missions. Like, what do those side missions look like? Like, that's the stuff I want to see. And I feel like from what I've seen personally, I haven't gotten to see any of that. And it's like, yeah, like, oh yeah, you can go and you can land anywhere you want in the world, or you can go and have space battles and take other people's ships. But I was like, but what's the story? Like, what? Like, I just don't want to roam around and do nothing. Like, I want to know what I'm doing. What's my, like, Fallout has a purpose.
Make
you know
butter.
What the purpose is.
No.
Is this-
It does seem like they're keeping the
we
story
must-
like tight,
we
close to the
must
chest.
explore it. I'm just gonna, you know what? No. I'm gonna do like I did with Dark Souls. You can look back at that episode. I'm with my own freaking story. This is freaking Lightyear 2 happening right here.
Marshmallow Man in space.
Oh, dude, Buzz Lightyear. I'm making a comeback. This game just got 10 times more interesting.
There you go.
Star Command.
Now it's the best
Star
game
Command.
ever.
That's
because
gonna
you
be my
made-
ship.
Star Command, come in.
Man, all right, no, I'm hyped now. All right.
I'm really
Let's go.
interested to hear Nick's take now, especially after Jake dropping the Game Pass bomb there.
Yeah.
Keywords.
It's an interesting position for me because it is not coming out on PlayStation, so I will not be able to play it. I do have a friend who has an Xbox, so I'm gonna have to twist his arm and let me play it, because I to be honest, I have not been hyped for this game at all, really, until recently when I've seen, you know, what the game's about and what it's going to be including, because I love space stuff. So that appeals to me in terms of that. I've never really been a fan of Bethesda. You guys might crucify me for this, but I've never enjoyed the Fallout games. Skyrim, I loved. I thought Skyrim was amazing. So the idea of like Skyrim in space is like super cool and sounds like a great idea. But it's, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't really like. It's just Bethesda. Every Bethesda game I've played, I'm like, it's kind of annoying. But then I've seen like stuff with this, and I'm like, I don't know. It just looks. It's without a doubt, as Dan said, the biggest game of the year. Absolutely. But just on what Jake was saying, I think that like I worry that it might be a little bit of a Cyberpunk situation as well. Not to say that the game's going to have a launch as bad as Cyberpunk, because I don't think that's ever going to happen again. But I worry that people are getting too hyped for it. It's absolutely going to be a Game of the Year contender, probably a front runner, but you know, I don't want people to kind of expect too much. I think we should all manage our expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it is as good as we think
Always.
it is, you can be pleasantly surprised even more.
Yeah.
Tempering expectations
100%.
is always a skill to try to have when it comes to video games.
I've never like
coming
that
around-
was another thing I was going to say. I've never really been disappointed by a video game, except for Aliens, Colonial Marines, but I think everyone was. But I've never kind of like games that I've bought like day one have always been games that I'm like I have to play this, and it's been, you know, games that I absolutely maybe Shadow of the Tomb Raider is probably a game that disappointed me, and I got it day one. But other than that, like I kind of always like play it safe with games that I buy. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, like Starfield for me, like I think that if I had an Xbox, I still, you know, it would be cool to have Game Pass and be able to play it day one. But the idea of like spending that money on something as ambitious as this is kind of scary.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always say, and when people like are on the fence about it, I'm like, if you don't like Bethesda games, don't go into this, because this is going to be at its core. And not even just its core, just on the surface, it's a Bethesda game. You can see it in the interactions, you can see it in the trailers, you can see it in the way in the dialogue. It is a Bethesda game. So if you haven't enjoyed Bethesda games in the past, I don't think this is going to be the one to change your mind, because the shooting, the movement, the interaction, everything about it is Bethesda.
I will say that from what I've seen for Starfield so far, the shooting looks way smoother and way more crisp than any other Bethesda game that had shooting in it. Like Fallout, especially because like Fallout relied really heavily on the VAT system. And the shooting from the gameplay footage that they've revealed so far in Starfield looks almost Destiny-like. Like it's very fast. It's very tight. It looks really solid. It looks really responsive. That to me is the thing that's really gotten me, especially because like up until like 3 days ago, my whole plan with Starfield was I'll play it when it comes out to Game Pass on September 5th or 6th.
6, I think.
And then I was getting ready for us to talk about the game on the show. So I started doing some digging, and I was rewatching a lot of the trailers. I rewatched the presentation, the direct, and then it hit me watching like the gunplay and the customization. And I'm like, okay, I'm actually like, I'm feeling this a lot more now. And then I realized that they have that premium upgrade option for Game Pass members where you pay the $30 for the premium edition, plus you get the 5 days extra early access with all the bonus goodies. And I'm like,
I need it.
Okay. Like, and not to mention, like, my hard drive is maxed out right now with games. And I'm like, if I want to play Starfield, I need to either delete stuff or try to get room. So I actually bit the bullet and bought an expansion card for my Xbox for Starfield, so I can install it and not uninstall the other games.
Hoarding.
There you go.
But the thing is, I only have like 6 games on there.
That's
They're
how they
just
get you.
massive. And I'm currently playing, Armored Core 6. I'm playing Mortal Kombat 11 again, getting ready for Mortal Kombat 1 coming out. I'm playing Call of Duty. And these games are all 100 gigabyte
easy
installs or more. Like Mortal Kombat 11 is like 160 gigabytes.
Ooh.
It's insane. But yeah, I finally was like, you know what? Got the expansion card, got the premium edition. I'm like, I'm ready to go. I installed it earlier today. I have the game ready to go to boot up, when it goes live, either the 31st or on the 1st. And I'm all for it. I'm ready. I'm ready to like be able to play the game I want to play it. I'm ready to be able to like build my ship and make it look like a Millennium Falcon if I can. I'm ready to board other
Yes.
people's ships. Yeah, because you can do whatever you want with the ships. You can make them look whatever way you want. If I can't do Millennium Falcon, I'm definitely gonna make it look like the Firefly ship.
Ooh,
Like, it's got to be Serenity. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna try to make Serenity. But yeah, like
The Nostromo. I'm
Ishimura.
excited now. I'm hyped, guys. I'm on the train.
That's it.
Like it's all those little factors that like you put them all together and it starts like, exponentially increasing
I hope
everything.
there's gambling.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they did say
Yeah,
in the direct that there's going to be a planet that's like a Vegas style,
Yeah, I need to
That's
get
always a
lost
cool
playing poker and slots.
like Red Dead.
Yeah, 100%, bro. I need that.
Shit, the first time I played Red Dead Redemption 2, I spent more time just playing poker than actually playing the game.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Online too. It was just poker.
Yeah.
I do have to ask, with regard, I don't know much about Game Pass and its revenue system and profit margins and things like that, but surely a game like Starfield to release it day one on Game Pass, surely that's going to be a massive loss of revenue.
I don't think
I mean,
so.
that's why.
I don't know.
That's why PlayStation has said we are not doing day one releases for PS Plus.
We got to think
is
about
they
how many
say
people
they
are
don't
signing
see
up for
a
Game
value in
Pass
it.
just to play Starfield.
and not only that.
But, I mean, how much does Game Pass cost for a month?
For Ultimate it is
Like 15?
16. It
It's
went up. It went up a little.
$16.99 or something like that.
$17.
Okay, but
So you
check this
say
out though.
$16 for
Mhm.
Starfield for a month versus paying $70 for it. I mean, does that factor in? Am I crazy about that?
Well, you got to take into consideration that they're not the first people to create a subscription service and make a fortune.
Mm.
Everybody's following Netflix, right? So Netflix does not sell you movies at all, but yet it works. And you're not paying a cable fee, and they're not, you know what I mean? Like, you would think out of all people to go broke doing something like this, it would be Netflix, because you got to think about how much all of these IPs cost that they have in their subscription service.
Yeah.
Not to mention the
Like,
millions they spend to make movies for Netflix and stuff.
Come on, we're getting Rebel Moon. Are you kidding me? That I will pay. But my main point, my whole point I was getting ready to bring up. You're talking to somebody who's been a Game Pass subscriber since it launched. I bought the Constellation edition of Starfield. And then when they come out with a physical version, which they are going to do, I'm going to buy it again. And like, so you're talking, and then Dan's getting the Constellation upgrade. He just spent the 30. He's going to spend the 30
premium upgrade. Yeah, I spent $30. I didn't have to spend on a game that's free essentially.
So you're talking to two people who are for sure going to get the game and play it on Game Pass, who already spent well more than what it was worth.
They're already getting it for free essentially, and they're paying
And
money.
we already paid to play the game, and I got the controller, I got the Constellation edition. So as somebody who's already in a subscription service and who's going to buy it when they come out with a physical one, I've already invested almost 2-3 years worth of Game Pass into this one game. So, and I'm one person. Yeah. There's a lot of people like me.
And I can't, you got to also include that the game is going to sell on Steam. It's already like a number one seller on Steam.
Oh yeah.
It's available to buy on computer. Plus who knows how many millions of people are going to sign up for Game Pass just to play Starfield. Not to mention this little factoid, Xbox, they deactivated the free trials of Game Pass for the next like 2 weeks.
And the dollar. And the dollar.
Snap.
They got rid of the dollar one as well.
So people can't do the free pass to play Starfield.
Smart.
And also
that's smart.
And also, you got to think about the what was I going to say? I blanked. The people who are actually going to just buy it outright on Xbox. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of people who just outright buy it.
Yeah, especially if there's people that aren't Game Pass users.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting topic I find, because like I said, PlayStation have said that they don't want to do day one releases because they don't see the value in that. And it makes me think about it. A game like Starfield, you want to try and make as much money as possible, and that would be to not have it on Game Pass, make everyone buy it. But I can imagine that, like you were saying, I mean, you've got millions of people that are going to sign up for Game Pass just to play Starfield. They might be like, hey, look at all these other games I can play in 7 years when I'm done playing Starfield.
Somebody might sign up for a month for $10, play Starfield, and then go, you know what? There's all this other stuff here, and they keep it gets people in the ecosystem. It gets them on the subscription.
And do they have does Starfield have any plans for like paid expansions down the line?
I'm sure
DLC,
it would.
I think the premium edition includes like extra story content that's going to get released later in the year.
And I think
that could be a huge money making thing.
Yeah. And I think the biggest point, like the most realistic point out there, is how many people remember to cancel their subscriptions.
Oh man,
most people don't. I know for a fact I got at least 3 or 4 subscriptions that just randomly pop out, and I couldn't tell you what they were for. And that's a large. So the fact of me getting you into the ecosystem, I bank on you forgetting. Like that has to be a statistic they utilize. How many people are subscribed and don't access?
I've re-upped my PlayStation Plus membership at least twice because I forgot about it, and then it comes out, and I'm like, well, I guess I can have it for another year.
Yeah,
when I didn't even play mine, it's like, oh, I just got charged another year, and I haven't played it all this year. I'm sure that's a factor in it.
It has to be.
Just get them to sign up and like, dude, like, yeah, we didn't make $70 on Starfield, but you're going to be paying this membership for who knows how long.
All I know is I think Starfield looks like one of the best Bethesda games they've made in a long time, because I'm not a huge Bethesda fan. I think my favorite Bethesda game is probably Fallout 3, because that was one of the first.
Yes, thank you.
Fallout 3 was great.
Thank you. That's my favorite.
Yeah, like I played Elder Scrolls 4, and that was like I played Oblivion. I played a lot of Oblivion, never finished it, and then I've only ever like dipped my toe in Skyrim here and there. And like I've actually gone back to playing Skyrim a little bit because I've been on like a big fantasy kick. And it's funny to me that in the direct there was a part where they show the character on a planet that looks like it could have been straight out of Skyrim. So it's like there's Skyrim in Starfield. Like literally, you can go to a planet.
Mods for it.
So,
I can't wait. I can't wait. They're gonna mod in every planet from every Bethesda game. It's gonna happen.
I'm all for like what the game offers, all these different options for how to approach gameplay. Like if you're not a big shooter person, you can focus on stealth. You can do things to like take enemies out from a distance. There's all these different ways to play the game that don't involve specific skill sets, so you can play the game the way you want to. And I love that approach to it. And I personally love games that let me just get lost and explore. That was one of my favorite things about Fallout 3. That's probably why I love Fallout 3, because I used to walk around in that game with a sniper rifle and just scout areas and be like, that looks interesting, I'm going to go there. And that's how I did it.
I had an experience like that with Skyrim. I'm the kind of person, like when I play a game where you get options like that in terms of your play style, I like to say, okay, with this playthrough, I'm going to be like a mage with a sword. So my left hand is going to be all my spells, and the right hand is going to be some sword tricks or whatever. And I want to be like this shady character. Like I have like a whole D&D type of character sheet for my characters when I start a game. So Skyrim was great because I was like, I created my character, and then I was like, okay, cool, I need to learn spells. So you had to go to one of the mountains. It was like the White something mountains where you had to do like this whole school of mage stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then I could just do that. And I love just sort of walking through the world and getting lost. And that's something that really appeals to me in Starfield, is the idea of doing that, but in space. And just like flying to other planets. Like that's why I'm like, I'm pretty hyped and want to check it out, because I love space.
Space. I do love that. And like a space exploration. There was something about that too that I sold on Brandy, because I was watching all this stuff, and I told Brandy, I'm like, I think you're going to get lost in this game for a good while. She's like, yeah, maybe. I'm like, what? You can go to any planet, and you can make an outpost. You can custom build an outpost, and you can decorate that outpost from the inside out. So it's basically House Flipper in space. And she was like, oh, shit.
I'm curious, how many outposts can you build, though? I mean, there's like 1,000 worlds, right? Like, are you able to build 1,000 outposts, essentially? Like, or is it going to be like, this is your copy-paste outpost in this assigned section of each world?
Like 70.
It looked like you can put them anywhere.
You know what? Speaking on the number of planets, I've seen people complaining. And as somebody who's played No Man's Sky since launch, I think I've maybe landed and like walked around 80 planets to date. Like you're not gonna like if you're playing the game not how you should, but probably how it was intended, you're gonna be spending a lot of time on each place. And it's not gonna be, of course, there are gonna be people out there who do it, who just hop around and want to see it all. But I mean, I got hundreds of hours in No Man's Sky across multiple systems. And you don't land and explore as many planets as you think. So I think it's going to be a very similar situation here, and it'll probably take me like ever. I probably will never see all the planets in this game. Like, and that's fine for me. Like that does not bother me at all. Actually, kind of has me hyped. I plan on playing this for at least a good 10 years. Like same way I did Skyrim.
I mean, it could be Skyrim all over again. Like, were you there?
That's just real.
I was going to throw that out there. Like time travel back 11/11/11. Were you there at that time? That date is like burned in my brain because I was working at GameStop at the time when Skyrim dropped, and I did a midnight launch for Skyrim. Talk about hype for a game. Go to a midnight launch for a classic game like Skyrim. Man. Like that's a thing of the past. We don't really get those anymore. I can't imagine what a midnight launch for something like Starfield would be like. But
I have a really cool story about a midnight launch. I used to work at a entertainment store. It was like DVDs, CDs, games, all kinds of things like that. And they were doing a midnight launch at the game shop, like 3 or 4 stores over, for God of War 3. This was back 2010. And we were selling the game, but we weren't doing a midnight launch. We were only going to sell it the next day. But our store closed at 10 p.m. So we saw people like already starting to line up. Now they were cashing everybody up, and like we were finishing our shifts or whatever. And we were like all kind of thinking like we had a PS3 playing Blu-rays, like as a display, like towards the outside. And we were like, we've got the game. Like we can just quickly play it while they're cashing up. And we played for like 45 minutes. We played that whole opening sequence when they climbing around Olympus.
Ooh.
And everyone outside was like, oh, it was the best thing ever, dude. Oh, great memory. Sorry, that was a tangent, so cool. But it was funny.
Midnight launches were good times back then.
Good times.
Yeah, I definitely much more interested in Starfield now that I've like given it a good solid look at. But then again, that's me. That's how I roll because I purposely, man, words are slipping away.
You got this.
Purposely, I avoid looking at games because I don't like getting overhyped just to get disappointed. And ever since I've adopted that strategy, now it's like I'll look at it and be like, okay, that looks kind of cool. I'm going to keep my eye on that. But it's like a out of the corner of my eye. And then when the game drops and I start playing it, it's like, oh, this is so cool because everything is new and fresh for me. I didn't have it like burned into my brain years in advance just so when I play it, like, this is stupid. Because that's what Aliens did to me. This is dumb. Where's that bit from the trailers when this happened and then this happens? Where is it? You know, like that's what it turns into is I'm just waiting for those moments. I'm waiting for those things. The rain looked
cooler in the trailer.
Oh, the puddles were so much better in the E3 trailer.
Puddlegate, dude.
Puddlegate.
That was so wild.
I think like my saving grace is no matter how I feel in the game, I can hate it, be done with it immediately. If I love it, it doesn't matter because when October comes around, that's my month, baby. Yeah. Spider-Man, Assassin's Creed, Metal Gear.
Oh.
Damn, Jake's gonna be busy.
That's it,
bro.
Dude, my wish list right now is so insane for like Xbox and like upcoming games. Like I literally went into the coming soon list on Xbox when I was looking at Starfield, and it was like wish list. Okay, wish list. Okay, wish list. Like I saw the Metal Gear collection. I'm like, yeah, okay, wish list. Okay, like Lies of P. Like some games, like I don't have to because like Game Pass, which is amazing. But then again, like Baron said, sometimes I still buy the games that come to Game Pass because
there's a sweet sale.
That's true. Very true. I like having physical copies too. So sometimes I buy the physical copies for my collection.
Dude, shout out to Sabotage Studio they really hooked it up for their supporters and people who backed them when they first were raising money for Sea of Stars. If you pre-ordered the physical back in the day, they actually are sending you a digital copy and for whatever system you want. And then they're sending you your physical as well. Like, they were super chill about it. And I love that. And I hope to see more of that in the future, especially when it comes to anything not you have to, but that's being backed. You know, I think that'd be a cool way for the devs and to hook up their supporters.
Yeah, especially for smaller studios like that.
Oh yeah,
it's definitely a way to go. But Starfield is going to be here soon. I know I would very much like to do a Starfield, like, not a spoiler cast, but like I want to do like maybe a week after the games come out. Have us kind of like, you want to come back?
Yeah.
We'll just do a big deep dive on everything about Starfield and how much we've been either loving or hating the game. Want it all. So yeah, I don't even know. Like, I'm so ready to like shoot things and blast aliens and build settlements and customize my spaceship to look like a transformer and all of those fun things.
Yeah, space pirate.
But until then, I got to keep playing Immortals of Aveum and Armored Core 6 because Armored Core 6 is really fracking good too. Really good. All right. Thank you all for hanging out with me tonight to talk about all this wonderfulness. Thank you so much, Baron, for joining us. It's always a blast to have you, sir. I very much appreciate your takes, opinions, and salts on everything. Or what did you call it? The ugly sandwich? What did you call it?
Oh, yeah. The crab sandwich.
Crab sandwich.
You know, it's like, oh, you did great, but there's this one thing. But on this part, you did amazing. You know, you gotta...
Appreciate it. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Jake. We'll see you all on Screen Smash next week. Have a good night, everyone. We out.
Bye.
To infinity and beyond.
Buzz Lightyear and Starfield.
The Star Command.
Confirmed.